2 of the Mentor.me Ionic app. So diving right in, the first thing we're going to demo is the domain login functionality. Here's a console log that successfully logs the response from the web service. We typed in Grizzly Prep there, and if you'll see here, Grizzly's Prep is one of our options, and it returns the colors here as well as this image. Next, I'll go ahead and capture this. We'll do Fleming's Fan Club next. But so this is the database for our RESTful web service. But so you can see here now when we paste Fleming's Fan Club, we get a different success with the different color from our database and the different image. Next is the session management login. The first one was indeed a GET request. These are actually put requests. And we can see here the login was pressed there. And the other important thing here is that you can see this A77F0E. This is for Bryce at Bryce Sharp. So when we come here to the database, if we go into the user, now we can see that A77F0E, which is exactly as we would expect it to be from the Mentor.me Ionic app console log. The A77F02E here. So now when we log in with the test account, we get a new one, the A3A191. And that was for this top account here. So when we refresh that, you can see there that it's working, just demonstrating the functionality between the two. But now back to the rest of the flow. As you can see, the colors have changed to green from the previous blue. There is also this welcome image here that's been added. As for the actual check-in page, not much of this has changed. This fancy button here has been added without actually any functionality added to it yet. But then when you do hit check-in, you can see the beginnings of the formulation of the request for this one. It's not sent off yet, and there is no response. It's not been completed just yet. But then the other UI additions include the matches here. Again, this one doesn't actually have the request yet, but it will. And then now it just shows the UI for how the matches will be displayed. The profile as well, we've done the UI here. This is actually, we're still at a little bit of a decision making here as to whether or not we want to send this first, because it shouldn't really update unless you've actually touched the settings, and then we could send it again. So we haven't exactly made decisions there, but they are around to be made. And then here's the setting ones as well. There's no button activity for this just yet, but all of these buttons that I just clicked will correspond to the correct endpoints on the RESTful API. And I guess I'll show that now. This is the Postman app. If you click in the web view, you can see here it'll allow you to download a JSON, but instead I'm going to open it with my Mac application. I'm going to go ahead and replace it even though it's the exact same. And so what this does is it lets us take our domain here, and you can see in the headers we've got, you see the domain here as the GET request for the Grizzly's Prep. And so when we see that, we get the same response here, and it's nice because it lets you show what fields are there. And then for the other completed one, we have is the login. Here you can see it's a post request versus this is a GET request. It's also in different colors here. But for the post request, you include these in the body. It's, they're securely hashed, I guess. Maybe not, but they're encrypted, right? So they're transmitted, so you're not sending sensitive information. And now when we send this one, we'll see that it's a different session token here. Is returned for them, which is then going to be used in the rest of these also. But these four here are not complete. And then I guess I'll show you some of the code from the server, just so you can have an idea of how that's working. Oops, that was actually the one we wanted here. Alright, sorry. But so here the new files are all displayed down here. And what you'll see is this is our primary file. It keeps the database information here, as well as has a couple functions that help with uh, the overall like reused functions. So these two private functions, the random string and the validate session, are reused by multiple functions. This will be used in the calling of all four of the ones that are not done yet. And to that end, you can see here it says if validate session is real, then do it or don't. But this is the mentor.me RESTful API. What it does, it's a singleton, so it instantiates itself at the end. And then when we go to any of the other ones, the domain, it just requires that file, and then it uses the object here, meant to call the function with the given parameters. And you can see here that's the same name, and it is in all of them. This is login, these are matches, postmares, login, matches, check-in here as well. This is the Postman HTML. This is what we use to actually get the Postman file and can be used by the other people in the group. This is actually the schema SQL from the web service actual MySQL. And then in addition to that, this is actually the JSON that the Postman file would give to you, so that you could install the new Postman file. It does include the information, but it's not completely clear. Yeah, and that's about it, I think, as far as things that we have accomplished so far.